Yo, it is May 27th. We are going to chill out today. I got a bunch of editing to get done, a bunch of photos I haven't looked at yet. Been shooting a lot of 50 mil lately, so interested to see what that's looking like and what that's shaping up to be. I don't shoot a lot of 50 mil in the street, but I've been enjoying it a lot lately. Went to go hang out with Lou today at the Leica store, my boy Lucian, to talk about my book, zine project, whatever we're gonna call it. But I can't disclose too much of that information right now because it's still TBA or TBD or whatever you want to call it. I got a bit of homework to do on that front. I got some more images to make for it. Oh man. Yeah, it ain't no real dead birds, but yeah, I need to shoot some photos that allow the project to kind of like anchor itself, because it's a little, the turn to the end is a little too quick, so we need to smooth this out. More on that coming soon. Might run a printer, but I don't like printing in the dark, so that might not happen. But I need to print because I haven't printed an image on my printer in about 2, almost 3 months, and it's probably in need of getting some ink ran through them hoses. So if not anything, we might just print something off to make sure everything's in working order. But got a lot of work to do this weekend before I head out to New York for a job. So yeah, one of the few days we have as a chill day, well, chill evening, going into a chill day, which is more so just me just going outside and trying to make images and trying to figure out this photography thing as I do every day. Ended up running the printer last night, got to run off a couple prints, and came back this morning. I got bit by the print bug, and I always do this where I sit there and don't print for mad long, then I come back to printing, and there's too many photos I want to look at, and it gets super time consuming. But I did get to see a couple frames I have been meaning to check out for a while. Some frames are in black and white, some frames are in color, kind of seeing how they render on different papers. My two go-to papers right now is a Try to Rag Bright by Moab, which is a uncoated rag paper, but it has a very high white point, so the paper's super white. And I've been enjoying that paper a lot lately. Favorite choice of paper is usually a brighter rag, especially by Moab, the Juniper line, but I don't like what it's doing to the black and white photos right now because the paper's really warm, so I don't like the warm tint on the black and white photos, but in color is fine. I think the way that I grade photos are a little blue biased and lean a little more sort of cooler side. So the warm paper or the warm undertone kind of balances it out a bit. Color on a Try to Rag, I like it, but I don't think a lot of times it's for my work because I like deeper blacks. So, and it doesn't hold black that well. Detail in the low end falls off kind of quick, but I'll figure that out another time. I'm about to get up out of here. Why are we taking this time to explore the possibilities of using a 50 millimeter? It comes down to a few reasons. One, I'm working on these projects right now, and as I'm sequencing this project that I'm currently trying to finish up, all the photos I thought were A photos or the good photos end up not making it. And a lot of the pared down 50 mil frames ended up carrying a lot of the weight. I found that a lot of the simpler photos help progress the story forward. And with the wider frames and the frames that had so much information, they kind of kept the story stagnant. It didn't allow the viewer to progress through the narrative that I'm trying to lock in. Also, with that, I realized, the car's coming out, let's get across the street. With that, I realized that a lot of my favorite bodies of work don't have a lot of my favorite images in the history of photography. All my favorite images that have been made that made me go, wow, this is an amazing image. And it's never in a body of work that I can remember. Conversely, when I think about all my favorite bodies of work and favorite books, more times than not, I cannot remember a single photograph from those. But I can remember the narrative, I can remember how many pages, I can remember a plethora of things, but try to get me to remember one of my favorite images from somebody's work, could never do it. A lot of times, the viewer needs a break, right? If photos are too informationally dense, all for every page, you kind of mentally fatigue out. And after a while, the viewer is gonna wanna put down the book. So I need to start incorporating some more photos that are a bit simpler, a little more direct, photos that allow me to say, A, audience, or A, reader, or A, I mean, ain't no words in photo books, right? So, A, viewer, right? Look at this thing. This is what I want you to look at. I've often deemed 50 mil as a boring focal length, but I'm starting to realize that the power of 50 mil is in its neutrality, right? Like, there's no crazy compression going on, there's no crazy foreshortening going on, so that really allows you to concentrate on what's important, which is the information and how you're putting that in the frame. Personally, I know that I've owned so much gear and traded so much gear at one time that a lot of my work is feeling a bit inconsistent as I'm looking at these projects, and I want to start getting it a little more cohesive. So right now we're gonna shoot mainly 50 and we're gonna keep 35 in there because it's almost as neutral as 50, but it still gives me a little more dynamism and a little bit of a variation, but it's not so different that it's jarring. Now that I think about it, I don't think there's ever been a time where I went, damn, I wish I had something wider than 50 mil when I've had a 50 mil on my camera. I always usually make it work. And I think that's kind of the key takeaway as well, that 50 mil is wide enough 90% of the time for myself personally. And I feel like I've always chased wider focal lengths thinking that I needed more room to put more information in the frame, when 9 times out of 10, all the information I needed would have fit in the frame with 50 mil if I just sat there and thought about it and made a executive decision. I've loved black and white photography and black and white images since the beginning of my photography journey. And what I've come to learn is that black and white is inherently abstract for the fact that there's no color, right? The void of color in a world full of color makes it abstract in nature. So I think by pairing it with the 50 mil, which grounds us in a human perspective, balances it out a bit. It allows us to see this abstract information in a way that's super familiar cognitively, opposed to shooting black and white all the time on some focal length that's going to obscure it even more. Also too, I want to start integrating more flash into my black and white photography. I think that a lot of times I'm shooting on a monochrome sensor, and yes, it allows me to pull back shadows because it has amazing latitude, especially in the low end. But oftentimes, if there's no light there, that area gets super flat. Because in black and white with flash, you could be a little more liberal with the placement of the light. Usually when you're shooting flash and you're shooting color, you have to be a bit more mindful of where the flash is placed because you don't want to look like you're living on a planet with two suns or some shit like that. So I think adding those things could be pretty interesting, but that's enough of me rambling right now. We got a bit of a break. About to go run some errands, hit the mission, make some photos, and try to practice on these new ideas and these new theories that I'm hypothesizing on at the moment. What's up with you? Yeah. Yes, bro. Okay. Yeah. Shit, I probably don't need it. I ain't trying to buy nothing else right now. I'm trying to get rid of the shit that I got. I mean, shit, let me see. Why you at it? I'm curious now. Nah, I don't work on no camera I got for real. Shit, all good. Appreciate it though. All good. Shit, can I get a portrait of you real quick? 1, 2.
1, 2, 3. Let me get one, just no hands real quick. Right there. 1, 2, 3. So what's your name, bro? Blake. What's your name? Blake. Blake. Dre. Nice to meet you, bro. Yeah, be smooth.
How many times have we owned a Rico at this point?
Yeah, I know, right?
It done round robin and the shit. It done been passed around.
How far is 1 meter?
How far is 1 meter? Damn, Oakland Public Schools, brother. A meter's 3 feet 3 inches. So basically a yard and a pinky.
How far is a yard?
A yard is 3 feet, bro.
So a yard and a meter is the same?
No, a yard is 3 feet. A meter is 3 feet 3 inches.
That's petty as hell. Who the fuck uses yards? Americans or Europeans?
We the only people that still use the imperial system, I think. The rest of the world use metric.
We difficult.
We stubborn. If you was 6 foot, it'd be a little easier. Because you just go from the center of your nose, stretched out arm. That's about 3 feet.
It's like 2.
Yeah, but you're not 6 foot. So if you stick your arm straight out and touch it, that's probably about, hey, yo. He really counting out with his feet. That's crazy.
Okay.
Oh, look at it.
Yeah.
Look at it. International Saudi.
So when I walk around the street, I just gotta know, like.
Quick, how far am I away from you now?
Well, you moving though.
Right
I
there.
don't count. I got imaginary footsteps. like 5 feet.
That's about 5 feet. Yeah, that's about 6 for real. No, that's about 5. That's about 5 for sure. I mean, margin of error on a wide angle lens, if you plus or minus a foot or two, it ain't gonna end you. On 50 mil, that's a different story, but
50 mil.
No, that's on 28.
28.
You got a wider margin of error because you got a deeper depth of field. So
okay, yeah.
if it says 4 feet and the person's actually 5 feet away, you still all right. Shit, if they 7 feet away, you probably still all right, depending on if you on like F8.
Yeah, okay. About to be snap focused Saudi.
Snap focused Saudi. All right, and we're back for day 2. I had to come back to the city to do a bit of shopping because I got the details for this New York job and it's business attire. So I need to get some collared shirts because I only own t-shirts and hoodies. So we're gonna use that as an excuse to get a day 2 in. Had to cut yesterday a bit short because I had to get home a bit early. So we got about an hour and a half. Gonna make it count. Try to use this flash a bit more because I didn't use none yesterday. So we'll just see what happens. If it work, it work. If it don't, it don't. But at least put it at the top of mind today and see if we can make something happen. This flash isn't the strongest, but I kind of like that limitation. So, you know, I like this little pocket of light right here. When people enter this section, they're in shadow, so I can use a flash to lift them up and still keep the background in play. So we'll camp here for a little bit. All right, let's find another spot. This one's drying up a bit. Nah. Yeah. Low hanging fruits. This could be interesting. That last frame might have been what I'm looking for and what I'm trying to achieve with flash right now.
Had my guy in the foreground, in the shadows, but everybody across the street was still lit by the sun. So I was able to give him a bit more level and a bit more dimension and shape. So yeah, that might have been a win for the day right there.